This is a good movie podcast with Katie and Joe.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of This is a Good Movie podcast with me, Joe Bates, and as always,
me, Katie Hetledge.
oh my gosh, that's you and me and you, and our audience. I just want to start off this episode with a quick note to
Is it an apology to everyone in the world for your
It
awful takes last
it
week?
is an apology
Good.
that everyone who listened to last episode and told me that I was wrong, that you all have very poor taste in movies. I'm sorry you have to live with that.
The last week has been people we love dearly saying to us, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're doing The Day After Tomorrow because I love that movie. That movie's so great. I can't wait to rewatch it and then hear what you all thought. And then they come back to us later just full anger and disappointment in Joe.
Family, friends.
It's tearing us apart.
The editor for this podcast, Kale, every one of them have told me that I was incorrect, and I can't stress enough. I'm so sorry that you had to live with this view of art.
You're just wrong. It was a good movie, but we have to leave that behind because I can't continue to
I just wanted to
be
start
in
off,
this anger.
in case anybody was expecting one, an apology. So I wanted to
This is
start
not
off
an
with that.
apology.
And I appreciate you all forgiving me. But yeah, Katie, how's life? What is anything stressful going on with you?
Yeah, I have a laundry list, and that's what this podcast is turning into.
Laundry.
What's stressing Katie out right now? That's a new segment.
Yeah, that's the new segment. Ah!
No, just we're moving, as we've said on the
Yeah.
podcast, and that's stressful, but this is a nice break.
The good thing about moving when you get movers quotes is they all send you stuff, and then you have to determine if they're legit or not.
Yeah.
And then it's not actually easy to find like reviews of movers.
It feels like pretty much everything in the world is a trick right now. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you think that you're getting this, but actually it's a trick.
Yeah,
And
Katie-
like, you better figure it out. And I'm just a regular person. I can only do so much. I honestly think that like if I weren't so adamant about the need for people to spell things correctly in emails, I would be getting swindled and bamboozled from phishing emails like constantly. But because they do spell things wrong on purpose, that's a clue I learned in a training session one time about how to avoid phishing emails.
This is
I
Katie
know, but if
just
they
saying
start to
she's smarter than all of us.
No, if they start to spell things correctly in the fake emails, I'm done. There is no way I will believe anything that they tell me if it is all spelled correctly.
You know what I've been getting lately? It's
No.
just like random emails like, "Hey, here's your invoice."
Oh yeah, no, I get those too, but they go to my spam, so I'm like, that can't be. And I'm like, I didn't pay for anything that would require an invoice.
Yeah, if I don't know the name or anything, I'm like, something will happen down the line where I'll realize what it is, but I
Yeah.
can skip it for now.
I'm like, I don't know about this 27xxg42@gmail.com.
I get full
I've
names.
never heard of you.
I have a full names like Andrea. Good working with you. Here's your invoice, and I'm like, well, fuck. What did I work with Andrea? Did I work? But yeah, so that's what's been going on.
Yeah,
Just trying to figure out how to
nonsense.
spend the least amount of money while getting everything we wanted.
That's life, baby.
Baby. But we're gonna start off with a new segment. Are you excited for this, Katie?
What is
The
it?
new segment is movie news, but instead of movies, it's TV news with Katie H.
Well, I was looking up movie news for today, but honestly,
No news.
TV
There's
is
no news in the movies.
there is news. Cannes is happening right now, so that's something to talk
I
about.
believe
but
it's pronounced Cannes.
no, Cannes. That film festival is happening, but that's like hoity-toity, blah blah blah. And I think what's more important right now is to talk about some TV news.
Yeah.
I mean, TV is having a moment. We've got season 3 of Hacks is out. Season 3 of Bridgerton is out. Like, my TV watching is at an all-time high for enjoyment level.
Last night, Katie made me leave the room so she could watch all of Bridgerton at one point.
I didn't make you leave the room. I just said, I need to watch Bridgerton right now because it just came out and I needed to watch all 4 episodes in one day so that I know what's going on. And I didn't want any spoilers. And right now, to be honest, all of my Instagram, my algorithm is just Bridgerton. So I was definitely going to get spoilers if I didn't watch it all at once.
Okay.
And come June 13th, it's happening again. I'm going to block off 4 hours that night and watch the rest of it.
Okay. Well, I guess if anyone's looking for a friend that night.
I'm busy.
Wait, hey.
Well, so TV news, though, the news wasn't that those seasons are out, though that is
TV
news
is short for television.
enough. Big season 3 news, I guess, is what I'm saying, because season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty has been announced that it will not be coming out until 2025, so next summer.
Gotcha. They're waiting for her to turn pretty.
No, I think it's just the filming schedule with like the strike and everything got backed up. This is also going to be a longer season. It's going to be 11 episodes, whereas the other ones were less than that. It was 8 or 10. I don't remember. So I am excited that it's going to be longer episodes. I did read the book, so I kind of know generally what's supposed to happen. And God, I hope they change so much because I hated that book.
Great. I can't wait to deal with the after effects of her being mad at a TV show.
It was nonsense. So initially I was bummed that I will have to wait an entire year for season 3, which is the final season of, well, I mean, there are only 3 books.
Rewrites.
We'll see. Yeah, I am hoping they're rewrites. I was bummed that I was going to have to wait until next year, but honestly, I do not think that I could handle Bridgerton and The Summer I Turned Pretty coming out simultaneously. That would be like too much.
The Summer I Turned Pretty is the show you were like absolutely freaking out about earlier this year, right? Or last year?
Audibly gasped at multiple parts of season 2. It was, oh my gosh, that was so good. It was so crazy. I'm so excited. They're just doing such a good job. Like the books they're not bad. They're just like a little bit more boring, kind of.
Because there's no pictures.
It's just like a little bit more, it's more blah. And the TV show has really just done a great job of like bringing these characters to life. So I'm really excited for season 3, and I am sad that I have to wait a full year. But also, again, I think my brain would explode because it's already on overdrive with Bridgerton.
Well, just to add quickly for other TV shows coming out this year that I want to highly recommend to watch season 1 is later this year, Silo season 2 is coming out. And I can't stress enough. That's my favorite show of last year. Yeah.
It is good. I feel differently.
Oh my
about
gosh.
that. No,
You've been saying good things this whole time and telling people to watch it.
No,
now
it is good. It's just like my excitement about Silo, which is an objectively good, high quality show, is very different than like my genuine enthusiasm for these shows that I'm talking about.
To see high schoolers smooch.
What? No.
Isn't that Summer I Turned Pretty? They're high schoolers?
They're in high school. It's not about the smooching. And guess what, Joe? Actually, season 3, they're in college.
Oh, okay.
And actually, season 2, one of the characters is already in college.
Okay.
So you don't know what you're talking about at all.
Gotcha. So you didn't gasp at any smooches.
Well, it was crazy. Because it was a double gasp. 1, the smooch came out of nowhere, and then 2, the brother walked up. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
That was the craziest scene. I think I watched it like 5 times.
All right. Okay. I can't stress enough how insane that conversation was.
Anyone listening to this who also watched this show knows what I'm talking about. Everyone, it was a gasp heard around the world.
Okay. All right. Well, that's our TV news. It used to be movie, but this time it's TV.
And honestly, I just need to tell people right now, this is probably where the fun ends for this episode, because the movie we watched was so incredibly depressing and sad and serious that there may not be another laugh for the remainder of this podcast episode.
Well, Katie, you did bring up we did watch a movie last week. We watched the final Wolverine Hugh Jackman film, Logan.
I don't think it is the final Wolverine Hugh
Well,
Jackman
now
film.
that's a good point. It was not supposed to be the last. It was supposed to be the last one until this Deadpool movie was coming out.
Until he became friends with Ryan Reynolds.
Well,
they didn't account for friendship.
Well, we'll talk about all the things that had to go right for this Deadpool Wolverine movie to happen.
Okay.
But yeah, this was intended to be the final movie with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Okay.
And it's called Logan, and it came out in March 3rd, 2017. The budget was about 97 to 127 million.
Okay.
And the box office was the second largest box office we've talked about on the show.
Whoa.
At $619 million.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it being really popular.
Yeah, it was a pretty popular movie. I think after Deadpool, it was like the biggest like rated R box office. Question: What did you think this movie was going to be about?
I mean, I remember the trailers for this of like with the country song, the like deep voice country song, and this old man Logan.
Johnny Cash? You're thinking of the Johnny?
I couldn't remember what the song was. Yeah. Johnny Cash is playing. We got old man Logan. It's like kind of a Western, and there's a little girl involved, and they gotta fight some bad guys. But now, guess what? He's old.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I knew about it. And I knew it was like, this isn't your regular superhero movie. This is a sad one.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I didn't really want to see it. Also because I hated the ending of the origin
so now
story
you
one.
bring up a good point.
And so I was like, I do love Wolverine in the other movies, but anytime it's like a solo Wolverine movie, I haven't had great experiences with that.
Let me ask you that. So you saw an X-Men Origin, Wolverine X-Men Origin.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was not a good movie for a variety of reasons.
I mean, I thought parts of it were great, and then the end, wow, I really hated that.
You hated Ryan Reynolds having his mouth sewed shut.
I hated that it was basically like the movie didn't happen. Because his memory gets wiped or whatever. And like, I hate, that's the equivalent to like at the end, someone wakes up and it was all a dream. And I'm like, that's such a cop out. I just don't like that.
Well, that's fair, but I will say, and I don't have full comic book knowledge, but that is what kind of happens in the comic books. This whole origin,
Yeah.
he like gets his memory lost. And it starts in the first X-Men movie where he's like, I don't really remember what happened to me and how I got here. Did you see The Wolverine?
No.
So you've only seen one solo Wolverine
Right,
movie.
but that's 100% of bad endings that I was knowledgeable of.
So I would argue I love The Wolverine as well.
Okay.
So The Wolverine and Logan are two pretty good movies. They're both James Mangold, the director, and Hugh Jackman. The third movie they worked together on was Kate and Leopold.
Oh my God.
So James Mangold and Hugh Jackman have gone the spectrum of Kate and Leopold to Logan.
I have to say that like Kate and Leopold, I really loved growing up, and then you and I watched
like
it.
a review.
I think we
Someone
watched
talking
it,
about
or like
about-
watched a review. Like I ended up watching it again fairly recently because they in this review video that we were watching, as one does, they were saying it was a bad movie, and I was like, what the heck? This movie is great, and I will prove it to myself by watching it. And oh boy, it was bad. Which made me really sad about that because I really remembered it being so good.
It had a very odd time traveling mechanic.
That wasn't the only reason it was bad. It made no sense.
Well, they definitely got better with the Wolverine and Logan
Sure.
as a duo. This movie, just so people know, the plot is it's 2029. Mutants haven't been around for 25 years. Logan is an old man taking care of an old Charles Xavier. And while he is taking care of him, there is a little girl that comes into Logan's life, and through a variety of events, he has to take her across the country to a certain spot.
Safe house.
To get safe from the people that have been experimenting on her and other children.
They created them.
Yeah, they created
just experiment on them. They created them to be new mutants / super soldiers. Ever heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
And then the kids escaped, and then the scientist people are hunting them down.
Yes.
And one of the nurses is helping the little girl, and then finds Wolverine.
Yes.
So it's like, you can help us, and then things do go awry.
This movie was heavily based on the movie they referenced, the old Western, which is a movie called Shane.
Okay.
Which is it's hard to escape your past of being a murderer. And that's sort of what Logan's trying to get through. It's like, I've murdered so many people.
Yeah.
How do I ever change who I am?
You can't.
But I think you do. I think that's the movie is very sad, but I think throughout the through line into it is that he finally accepts who he isn't what he's told he is.
I mean, if he's trying to get away from the murder thing, he kills a lot of people in this.
He does murder a lot of people. And
it doesn't feel like all of those murders are super necessary. It feels like because he has these claws, he's like, if I use these, murder happens. Like, he can't maim someone with the claws. He has to full murder them.
Yeah, he has to full. I mean, you're getting cut, you're going to get murdered, most likely.
I just feel like maybe he could figure out a way to do a graze.
Maybe.
That would hurt someone enough for them to stop fighting him.
The problem is he has rage that kind of controls him. So this was other influences for this movie was The Wrestler and Unforgiven. Unforgiven's Clint Eastwood's final Western movie. I think that won Best Picture.
I didn't see either of those.
And the other idea James Mangold has, I was telling Hugh Jackman that he wanted this movie to be a bloody, existential Little Miss Sunshine.
I don't see it that way.
Yeah, I think it's just more like a little girl traveling with an old man and another guy.
I do love Little Miss Sunshine.
Little Miss Sunshine's a great movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm just gonna, I'll start off with the thing. Well, do you want to guess what this movie was nominated for an Oscar? Do you want to take a stab at it? We don't have 3 stabs.
3 stabs.
Or one out of your foot because you're a lady.
I don't know. Stunts? That's not
it was
Oscar
stunts.
Yet.
This was the first one. It's gonna beat Fall Guy this year for stunts.
Effects? Visual effects?
No, not a visual effects. Not acting. This movie is, I believe, the only superhero movie to be nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Interesting.
Because this is based on a comic called Old Man Logan.
Yes.
That was a very famous comic at the time. It is very different than the movie we watched. There's no Charles Xavier in that. There's no him taking care of a young girl. In the movie in the comic Old Man Logan, Wolverine is very old, and he is just going around. The world has been taken over by villains that have separate areas of America, and he is just going through and killing all of those people. That's his last thing he does before he dies.
Sure, yeah. So it got nominated. It didn't win.
It did not win.
Okay.
Call Me by Your Name won Best Adapted Screenplay that year.
I haven't seen that either, actually.
Really? I would have guessed you would have seen that movie.
No.
That's the Cancer Girl one?
Wait, what?
Call Me by Your Name?
That's the Timothy Chalamet.
I'm thinking Fault in Your Stars.
Yeah, The Fault in Our Stars, I have seen many, many times. I also love that soundtrack. It makes me cry every time I listen to it. You haven't seen that?
No, I have not.
We should watch that at some point. No, Call Me by Your Name is the Timothy Chalamet Army Hammer one.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I never saw it, and now I'm never going to watch it because of Army Hammer.
Wow. Okay, well, you've shown Army Hammer. What did you think about the writing in this movie? Which I think is more interesting because you look at all the other X-Men movies, a lot of characters change who they are. It's a very different movie than other superhero movies.
Honestly, I felt like the conversations, the dialogue in this, it was a little one note. it felt like they were having the same conversation over and over and over. So I didn't love that. I was like, these things are happening to move the story along. Like, now someone has died. Now the little girl is there. Now the bad guys are there. Now they're chasing them. Like, so that was moving things forward. But in terms of like everything that they were talking about, it felt to me like Logan was just saying the same stuff over and over about like, I can't take care of her, and like, this isn't my responsibility, and like, I'm just trying to get us on that boat, and like that. So it was just that again and again. I will say, like, maybe dialogue from Charles was stronger.
Yeah, I do. I
do seemed like
agree.
Something was actually happening there. Although I didn't love that, like, they never really told us what happened in Westchester. I mean, you can figure it out, but
well, I think that's kind of what I love about this movie is it doesn't fully tell you everything, but you know what happened.
Yeah, but I don't like that.
But I'm saying, like, you do know that his mind, like, we're gonna do spoilers in this. We do it in every episode, but his mind goes crazy, like he did, and then people just died because they couldn't move or breathe. So he just killed all the X-Men because he had a seizure.
Yeah, at one point in the movie, the like evil doctor goes, a degenerative brain disease on the world's most dangerous brain.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay.
That was, I will say, like, that, I think the weakest part of this movie is the scientist dude, the bad guy scientist.
Yeah, he's in like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, just seems out of place. I think he's in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But he just seems like he's a little too cartoony for what this is. But that goes by. I couldn't find any information on this, but I do think they were trying to have this one villain, Mr. Sinister, in it, who does like gene development. And I think they just kind of downplayed him because he's very cartoonish looking.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you understand why did you get the drift of why there were no mutants for the last 25 years?
No.
So it's referenced a couple times when the farmer talks about the corn syrup, and then the scientist talks about corn syrup later. They've been putting stuff in food to kill all the mutant genes in people. Oh,
yeah, okay. I think I did kind of pick that up, but then I promptly forgot it.
Yeah, that's fair. This is just kind of like what I like. It's just like subtle things happening, like little stories along the way, and they all further the plot along in their own kind of interesting things. I love the scene when he is with the family.
I hate that.
It gets bad soon after.
The minute they got invited to dinner, I go, no. I just wrote down, all I wrote in my notes, frowny face.
Frowny face.
Because I said, that can't be good because danger is going to follow these people.
Yeah.
There is a tracker who can smell them, and he's going to find them, and it's going to lead the danger right to them. And then they go to dinner. It's time to go. And I go, yes, let's get out of here. And then Charles is like, no, we'll stay the night. And I go, ugh.
It was the best night of Charles's life.
Ugh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
So sad. So upsetting.
Did you know? So that dinner scene when they're all eating together and talking, fully improvised. Between
that's nice.
Patrick Stewart. I really liked that scene. It was neat finding out that was a fully improvised scene later on. Because they're doing the script and James Mangold's like, can we just like do whatever? Like try that out. And it just felt a lot more natural.
Yeah.
But yes, that does go awry with the introduction of the Wolverine clone. Okay. Let's so we were talking about writing the performances. So Hugh Jackman's performance, you think it was a little bit one note. It's just he's raged out, he's old, he's not really growing throughout the movie, you don't think? Not really till the end. Is that what I'm getting?
Not until like the very, very end when he is like, okay, now I care about this kid. And like, that's nice. It's a bit obvious that is going to be the case.
Yeah, but that's movies in general. It's not like he's never, you know what I mean? It's not like he's not going to care about this kid.
Yeah. I just also, like, when the movie started off, I just had so many questions, and it took forever to get to, like, kind of the plot. I was like, why is he a limo driver? Why are we crossing the border all the time? Why is he, like, not healing anymore? Like, there were just so many unanswered questions, and they just refuse to answer them. I was like, what's going on with Professor X? Like, it just took it was so much of me sitting here just wanting some answers and some explanation, and it taking forever to, like, even get to some semblance of that.
That's interesting. I feel like this stuff that's revealed throughout the movie, to me, seems reasonable to understand right away. Like, when you meet Professor X, you're like, oh, he's having dementia. He's, like, going senile.
Yeah.
Like, that's just shown by the acting, is my guess. So I don't know if you're...
But it takes a long time to even get to him.
Yeah. I mean, they're just showing Wolverine as an old man, and he's having a rough life.
He's just driving a limo, which still doesn't make sense to me. There are so many shots of him driving people around in this limo, and I'm like, let's get to the movie. What's happening? Like, I don't understand the purpose of this.
My guess...
Why would he pick a limo? Like, why is that the job? Why is that the one job that he decided he can do? I don't get it.
Well, he's got to be doing something, so that's just what he's doing. I don't know... So you have an issue with that specific job?
It just seems weird.
Yeah.
It seems like a weird choice, and then it's never addressed why that was the choice that he had made. Why not pick a different job? Is there something special about this limo?
I think they wanted to have him in a nice vehicle that drives away, so they gave him a job where he drives a car.
I guess.
I think that was the thought process, maybe. But yeah, it starts off with him as a limo driver driving around. It does take a while. I will give you that. It does take a while.
And you're like, why is he on his own? What happened to everybody else? And then you're like, okay, here's 2 other mutants. Why is it just the 3 of them? Why are they all alone? Like, it just takes a really long time to get to any of that, which is fine. Like, that's a choice, but it does mean that I spend the first 20 minutes of the movie, like, a bit annoyed. And that's not a good, like, mindset to go into a film with, is annoyance.
Now, my guess with that is that this movie, not to say the same thing over again, but is different than other superhero movies. And I think they wanted to set a tone early on that it was a different feel and kind of set the setting to what the world is like. Like, clearly it's in the future. Mm-hmm. There's still stuff going on, but, like, it is not good anymore. Clearly something has happened to the X-Men that they don't exist anymore, and Wolverine is on his own. There may be some heavy lifting done that people knew this is Old Man Logan.
Yeah, I know that this is a popular movie. I know that it's generally well liked. I'm not saying, like, this movie is trash or anything, but I do think that the popularity of it is relying heavily on, like, the goodwill already fostered by Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and by Patrick Stewart as Professor X. I think because people love those actors in those roles so much that they were, like, getting to see the 2 of them in this sort of movie together and, like, kind of pay tribute to everything that they did in these roles, and like, it's a goodbye to them. Like, I think that's really carrying a lot of the popularity, whereas because it's been so long since I've watched any of those films, like, I mean, I like both of them and I like these characters, but I'm a bit removed from, like, that fandom at this point, and so I think I didn't have, like, that goodwill towards them to, like, really make up for some of the other parts of the film that I found frustrating.
That makes a lot of sense. Like, that, I'm not gonna take that away from you. Like, if this movie came out now, would it make any sense? Because they haven't seen an X-Men movie in a long time. And also knowing that Hugh Jackman is about to be in Deadpool as Wolverine, I was like, and I told you that the end of this movie didn't have quite the same impact on me that it did for everybody else. So I think that's part of it too. I'm like, I'm gonna see this guy again later this year in this role. So, like, that
also I think is affecting my view of this film.
That's interesting. I still felt emotion when at the end of the movie Logan dies because it was sad, and him with his child like is a very sad moment. Mm-hmm. And he finally gets to tell the kid like he understands like, oh, I love this kid.
Yeah.
And then that.
No, it is sad.
And then Charles Xavier like just for
that was so sad. Okay, so
I forgot exactly how he died. I thought it was Hugh Jackman's like normal Wolverine killing him like to like end the suffering of the family. And then when it showed up, I was like, oh shit, no, it's the clone.
Yeah, so they're like running away from the bad guys. They run into this farmer family and they help them out with like wrangling their horses. So they go back to this farmhouse for dinner and then they end up staying the night. Mm-hmm. And Logan leaves to help the dad with something. And while he's gone, like Charles is sleeping and he's just said that he had a great night and it's been like so good. And then you see someone with kind of Hugh Jackman's frame like walk into the bedroom and Charles is talking to him about all of this, saying like that it's been the perfect night and all that.
Well, he was
saying that he remembers what he did in Westchester.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
he said it was a perfect night and this is what life could look like to original Wolverine. Mm-hmm. And then later he wakes up again and like realizes what he had done.
Yeah,
and killed the X-Men. Mm-hmm. And he understood Logan's like why Logan lives the way he does. Mm-hmm. And then.
Yeah, so immediately, because they weren't showing his face, I was like, I know that this isn't actual Logan. And it turns out it is a Wolverine clone. So that's very upsetting because then he stabs Professor X in the heart. Mm-hmm. And I mean, okay, one, he's dying immediately. In this movie, he didn't. But like in real life, he would die. You would die immediately.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a superhero get to like live a little longer than you think they're supposed to.
Yeah. So then I was like, oh no, he's going to think that Logan killed him. Like that is what really hurt me. Mm-hmm. And then, so even though it's unrealistic, I am glad that he hung on a little bit longer. So then Logan comes back, sees what happened, and he's like carrying him out of the house, trying to save him and saying like, it wasn't me, it wasn't me.
That it wasn't me is like even now I am getting like that's I just can't imagine like oh man that's like so sad.
Yeah,
and like though he needs the last thing to know that it wasn't his friend that killed him. Oh man.
Yeah, it was really
I am tearing
really
up right
sad.
now.
I know you are.
Like I will say
he like throws him in the back of the truck and I'm like, where do you think you're like you think that you're about to drive this 90-year-old who's just been stabbed in the heart somewhere that's gonna help him like by throwing him in the back of a truck bed? Yeah. Like that's not gonna work. And it didn't. He died, so it was very sad.
What did you so we'll try to go from there because that introduces the clone Wolverine. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the villains in this? We talked about the mad scientist guy for a little bit, but there's also the group called the Ravagers.
Yeah.
Or the Reavers, I'm sorry. The Reavers, that's the people like the robot arms
Ravagers
and everything.
Is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ravagers and Guardians of the Galaxy. Who do you know that actor that was like the main Reaver guy?
No, I didn't recognize him at all.
I'm trying to remember who that was. I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, very evil.
Very evil. Boyd Holbrook?
I don't know.
Let's see what Boyd Holbrook was in. Boyd Holbrook was in Narcos?
Didn't see it.
The Predator?
Nope.
Milk?
Nope.
Yeah, he wasn't in a lot. I guess he was in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I think he was like the German Nazi guy in it that we watched that. But no, yeah, he wasn't in a lot of stuff. But I thought he was very good in this movie.
I mean, the bad guys in this movie are just evil people.
Yeah, I mean, they're not good people.
There's like nothing really redeeming about them, or like I feel like nowadays you are kind of getting into villains who you're like, I get where they're coming from, like with like some of the MCU villains right now, like with Secret Invasion and all that. You're like, I mean, I get it. It's it's bad what they're doing.
Secret Invasion is bad.
Yeah, but there's a bit more of that, or like in Black Panther with Michael B. Jordan, you're like, I get what he's saying, but like he can't do this.
I mean, I will say like,
and this was full bad.
It is nice to just have I'm just evil and I don't care about, because I think with X-Men what happens a lot of the time is just like we don't think of you as people, which is why like the comic has resonated with so many people where it's about either civil rights and LGBT rights or but I mean they were just evil. Like they early on, and again, I knew this movie was sad, but I forgot how sad this movie. They show them like with the kids and just like killing kids.
Yeah, that is awful.
There's a nurse who like took secret video of everything, and it just shows like the worst
They're, like,
people
abusing children
like
fully. Yeah, I just think it's funny that like there is a lot of discourse out there around how X-Men is like a not like allegory, but like a metaphor for like the LGBTQ community and like them not being accepted. But then in this film, the bad guys, their whole thing is like, what if we purposely make kids mutants and then turn them into, and then like we use their mutant powers as like super soldiers? And so it's like, then the metaphor just becomes like, what if gayness was like a tool for evil? It's so crazy.
I mean, I would say the first part of like racial disparity is kind of what people were doing with like slavery, but it is funny to have like, we're making LGBTQIA plus
super soldiers.
It's just all RuPaul.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this army is sashaying away.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is a very sad moment.
Yeah. No, it's really bad.
I was like, whoa, they're killing kids. I was like, it was crazy.
It was, yeah. So
There's
this
a nurse played by
the actress from Orange is the New Black, who's like amazing. She plays
really
that like mom.
She's really good in this movie.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Rodriguez. Jeez Louise. Yeah, Elizabeth Rodriguez.
Yeah, she's fantastic. But so they get her cell phone. So she is killed by the bad guys.
She like tries to get the kid to Logan and being like, you need to save this kid. You're an X-Man.
Yeah.
And
this is your kid.
This is basically your kid.
But then she leaves behind her cell phone that she took a bunch of like video footage of what was happening inside of these labs. And I will say like half of the video footage is done very well, where it is like, yeah, that does look like what someone would secretly capture on a cell phone that they're not supposed to have in there. And then the other half is like, it's like not at all what you would be able to capture. It's like just showing a full scene with like where you would have to be standing like this.
James Mangold did right. Like he was like, that part was hard because I needed to show these things, but it did look like she got better as a camera person as she was filming throughout.
Some character development for her.
She was like, "Well, I'm really good at this. I think I figured out my calling in life. It's not to be a nurse for these weird
documentarian." The end of the like little footage sequence, it
right,
says like
credits.
Nurse Productions LLC.
Not her name.
I don't remember her name.
Gabriella.
Or
nurse. I want to change my life, but I'm not gonna forget where I came from.
Nurse Productions.
But yeah, it's there. And then like in the original thing where they try to get the girl from Logan and Charles Xavier, they shoot her in the leg.
Oh yeah.
I was like, holy crap.
They do, and that always makes me think about, I don't know like where I heard this or read this or something. It was years ago, but there's like kind of a rule that you can't show the death of children on
not in this movie.
Movies. Like it's not a rule, but like it's very much frowned upon.
Very off-putting for a lot of people.
Yeah, people don't like. I think what it is there was some movie where they did that, and then the test audience was like, you cannot do that, and they like had to switch it around, and I don't remember what movie that was, but
I think that might have been, they did that in The Mist, the Stephen King movie, The Mist. That's a very sad ending.
What's that Keanu Reeves movie?
The Matrix?
No. There's the one where like
Devil's
the
Advocate?
little kid gets shot.
The little kid gets shot in the Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure? Because that's the most bogus thing of all.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna look it up. My mom's like yelling it right now
Are
in
you
her
thinking-
car.
Are you thinking that cat movie named Keanu?
No, I'm not.
Matrix Reloaded.
No,
Matrix Resurrections?
I'm looking it up. Just stop guessing.
Matrix Revolutions.
Hardball. This is on
thank God
IMDb.
we got Hardball
Have
out
you
here.
have you seen Hardball?
No, I've not seen Hardball.
I mean, we might have to watch it.
You love Hardball?
I don't know that I love it, but I did watch it.
Well, I know what happens in the end.
Yeah, I did spoil a pretty big part of it. Anyway, all of this to say, like,
Hardball.
there's a reason why
All
you
of this
don't
to say Hardball.
see kids dying
Yeah.
or being like severely injured. I mean, it happens in movies, but like they don't show it that much. So then when it is shown, like when they shoot her in the leg with that like arrow,
It's impactful.
it's crazy.
I think the action in this movie in general is very good.
Yeah, it is. Her fighting style, I mean, we should talk about the little girl.
Yeah.
Her fighting style is crazy. I'm guessing it was intentional. Like her fighting style is very like feral.
Yeah, that's kind of what Wolverine's like comes from. He's like just a rage. Like one of his superpowers is just rage. Daphne Keane plays Laura, or as known in the comics, X-23.
Laura.
Yeah, she is going nuts. She's like losing her mind. It starts off with them like surrounding her in a building, and then she comes out of the building with a guy's head and
Yeah.
just throws it at them.
That was shocking.
Yeah. This movie is nuts. I thought she was very good in this movie.
Yeah, she was good. I mean, after a while, I was like, are you going to say anything? I didn't know that would be part of it. I thought she'd be talking the whole time. I thought she was like she is a big character. But I will say, I didn't know that Charles Xavier was in this movie.
Oh.
I thought it was just Logan and the girl. So I was like, is she going to talk? And then she didn't for a really long time.
That's funny. But you did know Charles Xavier was in the movie at that point.
Yeah, but I thought he wasn't going to be a big part of it because I was like, oh, I didn't even know he was going to be here. So I thought maybe he was going to like stay in the tank forever.
Oh, you thought they were just like, hey, be in the tank, I'll get you back. No, this is...
Yeah.
this
I
is
didn't
a
know he was
swan
going to
song.
be like, in the...
Yeah. I'm
whole
glad
film.
he was. He's a huge, very
Yeah.
good in that movie. Daphne Keane, I think, is really good. I do like that when she starts talking after, like, when Charles dies, and Logan just loses his goddamn mind.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Yeah. And then she gives the big speech, which is just copying the movie Shane, which this movie is based off. When...
Oh, at the end?
Yeah.
His, like, eulogy?
Yeah.
That was nice.
It was nice.
I was like, wow, this girl has a really good memory because she saw that movie like one time amidst a lot of other things happening. So that's crazy. Maybe that's a superpower of theirs that they don't even know about. Super memory.
Going with the action, Professor Xavier's seizures,
Yeah.
when they were happening, those were done practically. So
Like they just shook the camera a bunch?
yes. And then they put on smooth mode to like smooth out the shakes. So they shook it really violently, then did it, and they got that effect.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah, I think it
And so everyone just had to like crawl in slow motion
Basically.
during that. That's funny.
I thought that effect was good, and every time it happens, you do think everyone's gonna die.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem like
Well, I didn't because it was like
a movie.
not towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, no, you're smart like that.
Yeah, so
But it does feel like dreadful. Like when he is not,
it is pretty ominous.
when he goes in the casino and he's on the first floor and it starts happening, like, well, this is You got to get there, buddy.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, he's going to go up an elevator. And then I was like, I wonder if the elevator's impacted. And then I was like, no, because it's just like if you have a brain. So elevators don't have that. So, and then
You've heard it here first, folks. Katie has established that elevators do not have brains.
And then he went to press the button. Totally worked fine. No delays. So there you go.
What I don't know is his bones are all laced with adamantium. And it doesn't seem like that weight really is added to him at all.
Well, because super strength. I don't know.
Yeah, but the elevator has a weight limit.
Oh, we're still in the elevator.
This sounds exactly like when I flirt with a girl on the elevator. She goes, "Oh, we're still on the elevator."
Still on the elevator. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know much about mechanics or adamantium or any of that.
Okay. Well, that's fine. We don't need you to answer that right now.
I can't. Couldn't even if I wanted to.
You did realize the adamantium was what was killing him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he said that.
Yeah, he said. Well, they said
because he's got that adamantium bullet, and Laura is like, "What is this?" And he's like, "That's adamantium. It's inside of me, probably killing me."
Yeah, probably killing him.
I was like, okay.
What do you think about the kid acting?
It was good. The kids are cool, but I do prefer Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
Just like thinking about like the kids with powers, I was
Sweet Tooth is a Netflix show. It's like a kid hybrid with animals kind of thing.
And there is like a band of children
yeah.
who are trying to like, they're being hunted and they have to flee to safety with the help of adults.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was watching this, I was like, well, it's no Sweet Tooth.
You're like, I wish these kids were a little bit more animals.
Like, I just wish they had tails. No, I mean,
that Richter kid did a really good job of like a kid that had to grow up too fast.
Yeah.
As like their leader.
Mm-hmm.
And Richter is based on an actual comic book character.
Nice.
Some of them I think are kind of just made up loosely.
Well, were they wanting to do like this will be like the next phase of X-Men?
Well, that's it. James Mangold did have the hope that they would make a next movie called Laura.
Mm-hmm.
That was her like leading like this new X-Men thing.
Yeah.
But because Disney bought Fox,
mm-hmm.
they scrapped any kind of plans like that.
I think it also is hard to like do an X-Men movie where only 10 X-Men exist in the whole world at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not really X-Men then. It's like just this group of genetically engineered children.
Yeah.
You would have to, I mean, for it to really get good, they would have to like sabotage all the corn syrup.
Exactly.
And start making some more X-Men.
Well, you know what I thought is they probably have mutants outside of America maybe? Or do you think that's like a worldwide corn syrup thing getting out there?
I think we send a lot of corn syrup to other countries.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. But I would imagine that internationally there's more likely to have mutants than in America.
Yeah, and I guess we don't, in this movie universe, we don't have to be bound by like the realities of exports and imports as they currently exist in the world.
That's true.
So I guess you can do whatever you want.
Were you surprised to find kids when they finally got to that spot? Like, what did you think was going to happen when they got there?
I mean, I am concerned that no adults made it. Because they were like, Gabriella was like, some other nurses also helped out. Those nurses, they really got the short end of the stick.
What happened to the nurses? The next big documentary from Nurse Productions.
Yeah, just saying. So I guess I was surprised that there were kids actually there. I did at one point, I thought that, I don't know why, I was like, oh, maybe this will be like a safe haven for future kid X-Men. And I was like, maybe these kids will go off, to Canada to safety. And what if Logan lives here and now his role is to like shepherd them through? And it's almost like because this is Eden and it's in the comic books, the location.
That's a good idea.
He would stay there being like, people will come here expecting safety
and
from X-Men and I will like lead them through. And I was like, that's a pretty good idea, Katie. Hope it happens. And then it didn't. He died.
Hugh Jackman wanted to live in this movie. But James Mangold was like, I think it needs to be like the end of your character.
I think if they had thought of this idea that
That's a good idea.
They maybe would have gone with it because it's so good.
There was an Underground Railroad type situation that they were building. They thought about doing that was going to have a lot of like cameos of like other mutants you've known in the movies. But the reason they didn't do it is that James Mangold was like, I don't want a bunch of cameos in this movie. Like, I want it to be about these 3 characters and that's it.
Yeah.
So that was like, because they were going to run into, Liev Schreiber was going to be in this movie as Sabretooth.
Oh, wow.
And he was going to be the owner of the casino they go to. And Wolverine was going to be asking him for help.
Interesting.
But they ended up taking that out.
Well, I personally do love a cameo from someone else in the universe.
But I think this
I
movie
love that, but that's fine.
I think this movie is supposed to be something a little bit different. I will tell you, Deadpool Wolverine, if you like cameos, there's going to be a million in those.
I'm pumped.
But one of the reasons that Hugh Jackman decided to also be okay with him dying was he was in an interview. This is a crazy sentence. In an interview on Variety Studio with William Dafoe, Hugh Jackman revealed that Jerry Seinfeld helped convince him to quit the role during dinner after Jackman asked him why he decided to end the show Seinfeld. Seinfeld replied, I've always believed you should never spend everything creatively because it's almost Herculean to start up again. You should always have something in the tank. Was Jackman surmising, leave the party before it gets too late kind of theory.
Yeah, quit while you're ahead.
Exactly.
That's what some people would call it. Go out on top.
Well, that's what he said.
I'm just quoting. I don't want to misquote it.
Okay.
But yeah, Jerry Seinfeld told Wolverine it was okay to quit, which he told to William Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem, we all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so he, as we talked about, Charles Xavier dies in this, and Logan dies in this movie, fighting. He's already like, I mean, he does a good job of seeming beat the fuck up and exhausted in this movie. Because half this movie,
he is running at full speed, and it looks so slow. It's like, dude, you're not gonna make it.
Then there's just like a thing like, hey, here's medicine that will help you like use your mutant ability better. And then there's 15 messages say, do not take all of it. You know he's gonna take all of it.
Yeah, he didn't listen.
He does it. He only gets like 10 minutes of like
power.
Then he just gets killed.
Yeah.
He fights they call him X-24. Laura's X-23. The Wolverine clone is X-24. They have a fight. It is way closer than it should be for Logan. Logan should just be getting killed the whole time.
Yeah.
Gets thrown onto a log, and then Laura shoots a gun with the one adamantium bullet they've talked about to kill X-24 in the head.
Yep.
Were you? I mean, you knew you knew he was gonna get shot in the head, right? Like you knew that's how that X-24 was gonna get killed.
No.
Really? So that was like a big surprise.
I don't know about a big surprise, but I was like, oh, that makes sense. I just thought the bullet was like Logan's just constantly contemplating suicide.
Yeah, I mean, he is constantly contemplating
suicide.
suicide.
I thought it was just kind of about that.
Man, it's kind of like you never heard the saying, you show a gun in Act 1, it better be used by Act 3.
No, I've heard of that, but I haven't heard you show a bullet in Act 1 and it gets used in Act 3. That's different. That's a different take.
The bullet or the gun? That's a different take. Hey, this bullet is the only thing that will kill me. Man, we're getting chased by a clone of me.
Yeah, that one's on me. I should have put that one together. I was too busy coming up with alternate endings that are better for this film.
Yeah, well, I don't hate your ending, but if you're gonna kill him, I think this was a very good job of like having his final moment, saving the kids and giving everything he has, and realizing he's fighting for a future, other people's future. Interesting note,
This doesn't give away the Wolverine, which is a movie I think we should watch. I think
Okay.
you would like that more than this movie, based
Okay.
on how it's a lot less sad.
Great.
But in the Wolverine, there is a moment he meets like a fortune teller who tells him he will die holding his own heart in his hand.
Oh, and it's like it's kid.
And it comes out like it's him holding Laura's hand, and that's when he goes
that's
like,
sweet.
"So that's what this feels like."
Oh, I thought he meant dying.
I think he meant like love. I think.
I still think he meant dying because at first I also thought he meant love, and then I was like, I don't know, that seems a little weird, and he's cared about people before.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but he has been essentially immortal for like a really long time, and now he is dying, and so I think that's why I think he was referencing that.
He's probably like 100 to 120 years old, maybe at this point, maybe older. He was born.
Didn't he fight in the Civil War in Origins?
Is that? I thought he fought in World War II. Was it the Civil War?
No, I thought it was the Civil War.
Yeah, then he's been around for like over 200, maybe 300 years.
I think your math is a little bit wrong.
1814, 1815. This is 2029.
The Civil War was in the 1860s.
Oh, World War One was 1914, 1950,
Yeah.
1860. So like 200. You could say 200 years
Sure, yeah.
old. It's 20.
I don't know, 300 years.
Well, I don't know how old he was when he was in Civil War. Who knows?
Remember when George Washington was in the Civil War?
Well, fuck you. And that was less than 300 years ago. So yeah, I was wrong. All right.
Anyway,
James
let us
Howard-
know what you all think. Do you think when he is dying and he says, so this is what this feels like, is he referencing love or is he referencing death? Everyone, let us know. Also, agree with me.
Okay, agree with her because she needs it, even though everyone always agrees with her, never me. They had an idea that instead of X-24 was going to be like Sabretooth. They were trying to figure out how to get Liev Schreiber in this movie.
Sure.
They really wanted Liev Schreiber back.
Just a Les Mis reunion, or?
Yeah, late misery union, basically.
Oh, wait, no, that's Russell Crowe. Sorry.
Yeah, that's Russell Crowe.
Sorry.
If you agree with her that Russell Crowe is in that, but you bring up Les Miserables.
Okay.
I can't pronounce French words.
Just say Les Mis.
When you bring up Les Miserables, Hugh Jackman for that role in that movie and this movie did 48 hours without any water to get his like weight down. He also stated like, do not do this.
Yeah, no, that's super dangerous. But that's what you do so that your muscles show through.
Yeah.
You have to be like really dehydrated so that there's no water padding your muscles. In between the muscles and the skin, they don't want any water there.
So guys, don't do this, but if you want to show in your muscles, don't drink water.
Yeah, and then just pass out on the date.
Also, I'm just gonna do some little fun facts before we get out of this. When Charles Xavier was suffering with seizures and Hugh Jackman was trying to get to him, he had people holding him back with ropes, so that it showed him struggle like even harder.
Okay, so when I said he's
slow
just
motion,
pretending
I just
to do
realized-
slow motion, you lied to me.
I think Laura was pretending.
Okay. No, she had baby ropes.
She had little baby ropes. But yeah, that's basically the little fun facts I had. Some of my notes I have is Logan going fucking nuts is fucking nuts. I mean, when he goes crazy and he's like raging out, you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
watch out, everybody.
Watch out.
What do you think of the little kids killing those people?
I mean,
There's a little more vicious than they needed to be.
yeah, when the one guy's getting like sucked into the ground, I was like, ooh, that's rough. But he did abuse children, so
I mean, kill
I don't
their
know.
friends.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, so I guess it's fine. I heard fun, well-adjusted kids.
Yeah, they're not gonna do well, and they don't have any adults with them now moving forward. They're gonna be kind of terrors.
Well, I think they... I think they'll find somebody. Canada wants to take care of them. They'll have people there.
Okay.
And then the one last note I had was do not miss with the one bullet, Laura. It's real risky.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you wanted to talk about before we get to the other stuff that we like to do?
I said all my thoughts.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's nice. I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm glad you shared your thoughts. Where would you put Wally in this movie?
Wally has no place in this movie.
Wally has no place in this movie.
Well, as you know, my rule of thumb, Wally does not get to play a character that dies.
Yeah.
That is a struggle for this film where almost everyone dies. I mean, I think I'm going to have Wally be like Richter or something. Or, you know what? No, Wally's going to be the nice doctor.
Yeah, the county doctor.
Nice doctor. So at one point, Logan passes out after they bury Charles.
Mm-hmm.
He passes out. He wakes up in a doctor's office. Laura has presumably stolen a car from a man with a dog. So not sure what happened to them. I am concerned.
Well, they're just out there. They'll walk home.
So she stole that car, put Logan in it, drove them to an urgent care,
Yeah.
and then got him inside. So
Laura's
that's
great.
impressive. But then there's this very nice old doctor who's like, you really need to rest. And I am a big fan, but you gotta. He's like, you gotta rest. And I'm a big fan. And Logan really doesn't give him the time of day. He's like, I'm sure you're a great, doc, but I gotta go.
I gotta. He's just coughing up blood and
Yeah.
barely walking. Then he falls asleep for like a day while Laura drives the car.
Yep.
Then he sleeps for 2 days. And I really liked that because it was just like, yeah, he just got the shit ripped out of him in that fight with that guy. And he can't heal like anybody anymore.
Not good.
Stephen Merchant, what do you think of him?
I thought he was great. I really like Stephen Merchant in
I like
just
him
about
too.
anything. So
It was a good, I think the director also said that it was a good foil for like the way Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman are acting, where this guy just kind of like, hey, maybe we don't do this. And
is he in the other movies? I didn't recognize him.
No.
He's new.
That character is in X-Men Apocalypse, played
Oh.
by a different person.
Oh, okay.
But his powers are basically he can track mutants.
Right.
There are like other things he can do, but it's mainly he can track mutants.
Mm-hmm.
The person who plays that same character in X-Men Apocalypse is literally a foot shorter than Stephen Merchant.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't remember seeing Stephen Merchant
Yeah.
in this universe. So
No, this is he was only in this movie.
well, he was great. I mean,
Yeah.
I was sad when he died.
Beware the
Sacrificed
light.
himself. So
He did sacrifice himself, but he didn't do much in that
I
sacrifice.
know. I was like, you really needed to throw the grenades like a little bit
Outside
further.
the car.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, that's such a bummer.
Throw one outside the car, throw one
I
near
was like,
you.
you kind of hurt them, but like, I don't think they died.
No, you may have killed one guy,
Yeah.
and that was like later in suffering.
But I think, when it comes to throwing a grenade, you don't always get it right, but you only get the one shot. So
But well, the thing is though, the whole saying is horseshoes and hand grenades. You don't have to be that close, and he was not that close.
yeah.
Yeah. So do you have a good, bad, normal takeaway?
I guess my good takeaway is that I do think some of these heavy hitters in terms of superheroes that we've watched in like a number of films, have really carried like a full franchise.
Iron Man, the Captain America.
I do think it's nice when they kind of get a swan song film and
Yeah.
like everyone's able to say goodbye to them in a way. Like I thought that was nice for Tony Stark, and like Captain America was a little different, but I think that's good, and we should keep doing that. It doesn't have to be for every single superhero. That would be crazy, but for these two in particular, I did think that made a lot of sense and was really nice.
I mean, he had been playing this character.
Is he the only one who's in both the old X-Men and the new X-Men movies?
Well, that's a difficult question because
Oh.
Days of Future Past is like both universes, because they send him back in time
Yeah,
to stop something from making the future what it is.
right.
So that has Patrick Stewart and
it's
and
been
Ian
so
McKellen
long
and
since
them.
I have watched.
Yeah,
those.
I've been trying to watch the old X-Men again because I do like those movies.
Without me.
Well, what are you gonna do? Let me see here. So he's been playing that character since 2000, and this is 2017. So that's 17 years of him being Wolverine, and now he's gonna do it 7 years later.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
How old is he? 50s?
Hugh Jackman is 25. He was a baby when he started.
Oh my gosh.
Hugh Jackman's age is 55 years old.
So, I mean, he's been playing this character for almost half his life.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
It's a good character.
It is a good character.
I mean, Wolverine, he plays a good Wolverine, even though he doesn't really have all the things to it. Like, he's a little bit taller. He's not exactly...
Were you saying it's going to be Taron Egerton next?
People are saying it may be.
I mean, I think he's the perfect choice. As you know, I think he's the perfect choice for literally
anything. I did not
anything.
think he was the perfect choice until I did see him in that Kingsman movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, he could be pretty good. My issue is Wolverine is Canadian. I just want the most Canadian person to be a short Wolverine.
I mean, Canada is in the
okay, all right.
British Empire. They've got the queens on their money.
What's your bad? Do you want to do bad or normal next?
Do
you not remember what your takeaways are?
No.
Did you not write them down?
No, I never prepare them.
Oh, wow. This is improv.
They're always
this
on
is
the fly.
a lady who used to teach improv. This is her on the fly right now. We'll go, whatever you want to go first. I'm not going to pressure you.
Okay. My bad takeaway is that old Logan doesn't look right. He looks like it's just really inconsistent throughout this whole film. Sometimes it cuts to him and it looks like his hair is like highlighted blonde, like bleach
just
blonde.
The lighting on him
and
is
then
weird.
sometimes he looks super old, like Clint Eastwood, and then other times he looks just Hugh Jackman, and I'm like, I don't know about all of this.
That maybe he was a bunch of different clones in the movie. We never really knew what happened to
I just
Logan.
think if you're gonna go all in on this being old man Logan, then like go all in on that. And sometimes he like half the time would look like crazy pale, and then half the time he had color back in his face. And like, I just think if you're gonna age him up, for this, and really like try and have it be old man Logan, then
makeup
you
and
need to
hairstyling didn't get nominated.
You need to do a better job of that.
On the comic book Old Man Logan, to spoil that for you, in case you're going to read it.
I'm not.
So what happens in that one, you know Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio?
Yeah.
In the comic, Mysterio tricks Wolverine into thinking there's a bunch of supervillains in his house, and he kills them all, but it was the X-Men. So it wasn't Charles Xavier, it was Wolverine that killed all the X-Men, and he's living with that in the future.
God, I hate Mysterio. I hate him so much. And
Mysterio did the Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and it's unrelated to how I feel about Jake Gyllenhaal, but I was thinking when the clone showed up, and I was like, oh my gosh, no, the clone's gonna do all of this bad stuff, and everyone's gonna think that it's Logan. Like, I hate that trope. I hate when there is a good guy and the good guy is being framed very convincingly that they are a bad guy. And that's what we are seeing right now with Spider-Man, thanks to Mysterio. And I was livid at the end of that last film. And then I hated this, and that I was very glad that like at least Professor X knows that it wasn't really Logan, but I just
Tricks and
really
traps.
hate that. I hate it.
I hate tricks. I hate traps. What's your normal takeaway? I've been giving you space so you can figure these out.
But I've been talking.
Yeah,
during
that's
that.
fair. That's all right.
I don't even know what the normal takeaway is supposed to be, but I guess X-Men movies.
We've been doing
are
this
good.
show for
And
24,
I say
25
this
episodes.
every time that I don't
No,
really
you don't. I can
understand what a normal takeaway
I
is.
got the note. I got the receipts. You don't say this every time.
I do. I think I do, and you don't listen.
What's your normal takeaway, lady?
I think maybe there should have been a dog in this film.
Whoa. Are you kidding me? In this film, you wanted a dog? There is no way the dog's making it in this film.
I think there should have been a dog, and that the dog should have lived and gone to Canada with the kids. And like the dog is gonna help them.
Yeah, I guess.
And what
that
if the dog
fine.
kind of looked like a wolf?
But if you're making
Like a Wolverine.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You know, there is an animal called the Wolverine.
Yeah, but it's not a dog.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's some more animal bias with Katie Hetledge.
I'm all over the place.
All right. Well, we're at the point, Katie. Is this a good movie? You're doing Spider-Man. That's not Wolverine.
But I don't know how to do Wolverine hands. Wolverine hands would just look like this. That's the number 3.
Yeah, that's good Wolverine hands.
And if I do this, you can pretend that the blades shoot out.
Out of the okay.
Out of the middle. I'm making space for them to come out.
That's not. He doesn't lose his fingers every time the claws come out.
He could if he's not careful.
if he hopefully his bones don't bend backwards so that it don't get
Gross.
away. All right, what are we doing? Is this a good movie?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I mean, it is the only superhero movie on Rotten Tomatoes with a higher score than Dark Knight.
I think I just personally had some issues with it, but I think it's good. It's way better than a lot of other superhero movies out there. If you look at, here's all of the superhero movies, you'll see, the bell curve. This is towards the top.
I mean, this is in my top
This is
5, maybe top 3 superhero movies ever made.
It's not in my top 5.
You got 2 Guardians of the Galaxies in there.
Duh.
Do you have the Dark Knight in there?
No.
Really?
It's very dark. I like my superhero movies to have a bit of fun and friendship.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yes. No.
Justice League.
No DC. Nothing DC is in this.
But Thor Ragnarok probably is.
Thor Ragnarok actually is my favorite
and
superhero
then
movie.
Spider-Man, No Way Home, with all 3 of them with Garfield.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta watch that again.
Yeah,
it's
I'd
been
watch
long
that
enough.
again.
But it's so sad. Aunt May.
Spoilers. Okay, so we got 4 movies. And 5th movie, you don't even have to say yes or no because I already know what it is. It's Ant-Man and Quantumania.
I hate that movie so much. You know what? I mean, this film, Logan, is exponentially better than Ant-Man Quantumania.
Katie, I don't think anyone would disagree with that
I'm just
statement.
trying to let people know kind of where everything is falling on this spectrum.
Do you have a guess at your 5th favorite movie? You don't have to know. Endgame, Infinity War. Both sad movies.
Yeah, I guess Endgame because I'm happy that they came back. I mean, I do really like Civil War.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's that.
Sounds good. Well, folks, this is a good movie podcast. Let's scroll so far up to get to the...
You should save it. You should save it
I
on your
haven't
phone.
saved in our chat. I have to scroll past so much non-alon. Which makes me think I've already... Yeah.
Do you want me to pull it up on my phone and show it to you? I save it in my notes.
After announcing the next movie...
Stop.
Oh, what is the next movie we're going to watch?
So, this movie choice was inspired by 2 things. One, my friend Morgan did text me over the weekend that the soundtrack for this film was playing at a bar that she was at where she was eating tacos. So that got it in my head. And then I was thinking about one of our favorite SNL skits of all time, which is the SNL skit that is about Hugh Jackman and Gerard Butler and how they play both the toughest, manliest, macho characters, and also just sometimes they're in musicals.
And having fun dancing.
And just having fun dancing, being silly little dancey boys. And I was like, okay, well, let's just bring that sketch to life with the podcast.
Okay, well, that's 1. And I guess choice 2, is the SNL thing, yeah.
Yeah, those are two reasons.
I thought it was all part of the Morgan thing.
It's not all part of the Morgan thing.
Morgan is really close to Logan.
Yeah.
They're together. That's the movie we just did.
Okay, we don't need to be talking about
Relationships.
real people on this podcast. I was just
Okay,
telling you.
These are Katie's passwords.
All that to say, the next film we will be watching, an amazing film, The Greatest Showman.
Okay. Well, I honestly know nothing about this film except the Panic at the Disco song.
Okay, great. It's on Disney Plus, so everyone go watch it there.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about it. I'm so excited because there are so many great people in this movie.
All right. Okay, great. Well, this was another good movie. Podcast. We appreciate all you listening. We appreciate our podcast editor and theme song creator, Kale Forbes, the theme song vocals from Austin Fry, and our logo from Carrie Pulley. If you want to hear more from us, follow our Instagram at TIAGMPod. You can find our personal Instagram handles there, too, and you can email us at TIAGMPodcast@gmail.com. As always, following, listening, subscribing, commenting, sharing, rating, reviewing is a huge help. Really, tell your friends to check it out. Well, we have done at this point a movie that they have liked or want to hear about from a newlywed couple.
Yeah.
Subscribing and sharing are the two biggest things you can do. So please do that if you can. And I'm Joe Bates.
I'm Katie Outledge. We love you.
Goodbye.
This is a good movie podcast with Katie and Joe.